now we're on to World War II before the U.S. involvement. And here, we're going to be doing this back and forth thing. And so here I want to sort of remind you what we were talking about last time, where, Hitler is breaking the Treaty of Versailles continuously. The French and the British don't do anything to stop him. And part of the reason why is because they want to avoid going to war. At the Munich meeting, Chamberlain decides to believe Hitler, that this was it. He was done invading. He gave me his word. We've achieved peace in our time. And but they made a promise, right, that they were going to protect, they were going to defend Poland if Hitler decided to invade it. And so on September 1st, 1939, when Hitler puts all of his troops on the border with Poland and Germany, he doesn't believe that they're going to stop him. He doesn't believe that they've made this promise to defend Poland because they've never stopped him before. He has no reason to believe him. And this time, though, he's wrong. Because on September 3rd, 1939, the British are going to declare war on Germany. And so we have the beginning of World War II in Europe. Okay? The combatants in this case, of course, are the Axis powers. You got Germany, Italy, and Japan. The Allies, right, the Grand Alliance in this case is Great Britain, the Soviet Union, and the United States. And I have France in parentheses only because the French are going to be invaded and pretty much, under the thumb of Hitler pretty early on in the war. But there is an active resistance within France, which is why I have them in there in parentheses. But they're really not as important as a military power as the other three. So they're in there. They're active. They definitely do contribute to the war, but they're not major players like the other three, specifically because they are under the control of Hitler. Okay, you got the Vichy French there. But anyways, I want to talk about real quick about how quickly Hitler is able to invade take over large parts of Europe. Okay, the way that he's able to do this is by doing this method is blitzkrieg. Okay, lightning war. What it is, it's like, fast, overwhelming use of force, bringing everything that you got, tanks, ground troops, bombing raids, incendiary dropping of bombs, like everything that you got. And the idea is to use so much force that you overwhelm the enemy, that they're not able to resupply or like recoup or really like do anything about it. And so the effect is that they fall very, very quickly. And so if we look here at Denmark and Norway, they both fall in April 1940. You got Belgium and Holland the next month. France falls next. And when France goes, everybody's like, oh my gosh, okay, now what do we do? The British are, of course, trying to help out, but there's really nobody else that is going to do this, that's going to help them. When you start to look at that map, and part of it is in your book as well, how quickly it goes from, the red in Germany, and it starts to just kind of like spread out. It becomes very, very apparent, very obvious that Hitler's not going to go away. That him as a threat is just going to become even greater if nobody comes to stop him. Okay, so in August 1940, Hitler is going to turn his attention onto Britain. This is known as the Battle of Britain, where he is going to attack it using the German Air Force, right, the Luftwaffe. And this picture here, of course, is of Winston Churchill, Sir Winston Churchill, who will become the British Prime Minister after Neville Chamberlain is pretty much ousted. And Churchill, this thing about him, Churchill had been trying to warn people forever about Hitler, that he shouldn't be trusted, that he's a liar and a scoundrel, and nobody would listen to him. Partly because Churchill had become sort of like a persona non grata. He wasn't welcomed. People didn't want him around. He was a voice in the political wilderness. He was ousted. He had a terrible campaign during World War I in Gallipoli. He was seen as a warmonger. His policy on India, it was all very, very troubling. But if Churchill had anything right, it was his appreciation of who Hitler was. He knew that that guy couldn't be trusted, and so he was right, and that's part of the reason why he's able to become the prime minister. Um, but he is definitely kind of like the leader that the nation needed at that moment in time. He embodies very much everything that is British, and this sign right here, you've probably seen different versions of it, variations of it, but this is actually from World War II. The idea that no matter what is happening, despite the bombing raids, despite the threat of of a possible invasion, that Britons were somehow supposed to just pick up the pieces and continue on about their day. Keep calm and carry on, very much in the British way. And Churchill is able to use the English language. He weaponizes it to galvanize the people, to rouse an army, to rouse supporters, and more than anything, to rouse support for the war. Because even up until now, a lot of people wanted to stay out of it. But we're not going to get into the whole politics of that or anything. I just want you to know how important Winston Churchill was to all of this, okay? He is definitely somebody that is going to keep the country moving forward, even if nobody comes to rescue them. I don't think I have, let me see. Why can't I zoom out? Anyways, I was trying to see if I had a recording here of him, one of his speeches, but it doesn't look like it. So I'm sorry. If you get a chance, look up his speeches. They're fantastic and just rousing. It's like, yeah, let's go fight. He's very good at that. But nevertheless, the Battle of Britain will go on from August 1940 to May 1941. Churchill's like phoning FDR, asking for help. But remember, we can't do anything yet because of what? Because of the Neutrality Acts. We can't sell weapons. We can't give them money. We can't do anything. But that's about to change, okay? The next sort of step here, before the U.S. gets involved, is of course the German invasion of the Soviet Union. Takes place in June 1941. Now this was a big mistake, okay, for Hitler to invade the Soviet Union and challenge this guy right here, Joseph Stalin. Was a huge mistake. He already had that non-aggression pact with him, but he decides that he wants more. He's going to go ahead and take on the Soviets in what is known as Operation Barbarossa, launching the largest land invasion in history. Over 4 million troops are going to descend. It's a very, very ambitious operation here. And notice how it's in June 1941. So, it's in the middle of summer, and or spring. They fail. They essentially, they're trying to make their way to Moscow, but just like Napoleon, they're not able to capture it. They're not able to take it, and for the same reason, the Russian winter, right? And very, very cold. They're unprepared for it. They've got on like their summer uniforms, and you got guys out there freezing to death and stuff like that. So what's the plan here with Operation Barbarossa? Well, Germany decides that they need laborers, they need slaves to build part of the German Reich. But the other plan here essentially is a hunger plan, a general plan Ost, which is to either capture and enslave or to starve to death the people that they meet along the way. Lots of ethnic cleansing for sure going on here. People from Ukraine, people from Russia are going to be captured and either put to work or die in this sort of demented hunger plan. Germans will capture 3 million Soviets here. But like I said, bringing the Soviets into this was not a smart idea. But Hitler is kind of counting on the United States not getting involved up to this point either. So Operation Barbarossa will fail, and eventually the German army will be captured. But even when that happens, the German government is going to lie about it. They certainly do not want the German people to know about it or to believe the news. Okay, so for now, we are going to stop right there because all of this has to do with World War II before the Americans get involved. Okay, so we have here Blitzkrieg. Notice how all of those countries fall very, very quickly. The Battle of Britain. Somehow the British managed to hang on, and then of course the German invasion of the USSR in Operation Barbarossa, which is the largest land invasion in history. Over 4 million troops, ground troops. They capture and kill 3 million Soviets and people of Ukraine. Lots of ethnic cleansing, hunger plan, enslavement. But things are going to change. The tide of the war is going to begin to change, at least for the United States. So go ahead and click on over to the next lesson, which is World War II, American involvement. And I will see you real soon. Okay?